Hello everybody, my name is Star Wars Boy, how are you? And welcome back to the channel for a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. In this video, we continue the Hero Guide series with a Hero Guide on the Roly Boy BB-8. Without further ado, let's get started. Also, only a small percentage of viewers that actually watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. It's completely free and it helps out the channel. Anyways, let's get started. Taking a look at his base stats, he has a base health of 650, which is higher than his opponent BB-9E. He has a base health regain of 300, which is honestly pretty good considering you're going to be taking a lot of damage as him. His base weapon is of course his shock prod, which is unusual a weapon for Battlefront 2. The damage per hit is not that good, coming in at 29 damage per 0.3 seconds. The range is 5 meters. Taking a look at his abilities, his first L1 ability is called Resistance Backing and has an 18-second cooldown. BB-8 scrambles enemy radars while revealing hostiles to himself and his allies. If attacked, revealed enemies will take increased damage. The duration of this ability is a decent 12 seconds. As for the pros, it does reveal enemies and does make enemies take more damage when revealed. This ability is pretty decent, however, it does have a longer cooldown, coming in at 18 seconds. His R1 ability is called Rolling Charge and has a really quick 10-second cooldown. BB-8 charges forward to knock down and damage the first enemy standing in his path. If blocked, the enemy is still staggered and damaged. Now the damage is a whopping 200 to non-heroes, meaning he can one-hit all classes in the game, and it's a 150 for heroes. As for the pros, it does great damage and knocks down enemies. As for the cons, I'd honestly have to say none. The only con was the fact that you can't really control him that well. However, the Scarif update fixed that, changing the camera angle for all of these animations. His final middle ability is called Cable Skin and is by far his best ability, coming in with a 25-second cooldown. However, it's quite reasonable for what this ability does. BB-8 deploys his cables and lashes out with a spin, inflicting high damage to all close by enemies. The damage is 45.03 seconds, which is a massive increase than what his base damage is. As for the pros, it has a really good area of effect, has good duration, and grants damage reduction to yourself. This ability is also really hard to notice. I found when I was playing as troopers and a BB-8 was near me, I couldn't even tell that I was taking a lot of damage before it was too late. Honestly, this ability is one of the better ones in the game. Taking a look at his star cards, these are 3 star cards that I personally recommend to use for Galactic Assault. The first one is called Whirlwind. Both the damage and area effect of Cable Spin are increased from 0.5 meters to 2 meters with a maxed out star card. This is pretty plain and simple. Cable Spin is already his best ability, so being able to have an increased area effect will just help you get extra kills and or extra damage. The next star card I'm going to recommend is Spinner. When hitting multiple enemies with Cable Spin, the next cooldown of the ability is reduced from 4 seconds to 10 seconds with a maxed out star card. This one is honestly, again, another no-brainer. The ability cooldown for Cable Spin is 25 seconds as we discussed earlier, so being able to reduce that by 10 seconds is going to be really good, as when you use Cable Spin, you're probably going to be hitting a bunch of enemies anyway. The final card I'm going to recommend for Galactic Assault is called Spare Batteries. For every 3 defeated enemy troopers or 300 damage dealt to a villain, the shock prod's damage output is increased by 1 to a maximum. This effect is reset when BB-8 is defeated. The increased damage goes from 2 to 7 with a maxed out star card. 3 defeated enemy troopers is really easy, and if you're picking BB-8, you're most likely going to want to go on a big kill streak, or just attempt one, so 3 kills is not that hard to get with him, and I can actually even do it in Heroes vs Villains sometimes. Getting that increased shock rod damage will help you a lot, as it doesn't do that much damage. 7 may not seem like a lot, however when you're trying to kill someone, the time to kill does make a difference. Now, as for Heroes vs Villains, I'm going to recommend the Head First card. This increases the damage that BB-8 does with his rolling charge, and the damage is pretty good, from 20 damage to 40 damage with a maxed out star card. Now, this is particularly for reinforcements and for heroes, which is why I'm going to recommend it in Heroes vs Villains. In Galactic Assault, you're already one-hitting all classes, so this card is kind of useless, and yeah, it does do a lot of damage for reinforcements. However, still, it's a lot better in Heroes vs Villains, as you're going to be doing 190 damage rather than only 150. Taking a look at his best maps, these are 3 maps that I personally feel like BB-8 does best on. The first one is Naboo. BB-8 excels in the second and third phases, as he can close down objectives really quickly. His rolling charge is amazing in the first phase, however where the second and third phase shines is his cable spin, where he can lock down rooms and just get amazing amounts of multi-kills. The second map is Starkiller Base for the same reason. The second objective is really packed, and if you go up the stairs similar to Anakin, you can actually wipe out most of the team, or even all the team if you're lucky. His rolling charge is really good in the close quarter areas of the map, and his resistance backing is really helpful for his team. The final map I'm going to recommend is Endor. Endor is the one light side map where the light side is actually offensive with a walker, other than Geonosis of course, so BB-8 is a great pick on this map. Not only that, however, if you're lucky and get this map in night, it's actually going to be really hard to see him, as he's not only has a small hitbox, but it'll also be really dark out, and it's going to be harder to see him than any other hero. Again, these are the 3 maps that I just personally use him on. You can use him on any map, but these are the 3 maps that I do best with him on. Now moving on to some tips for BB-8, and honestly this is a pretty hard hero to use. BB-8 is definitely the better of the two, however they're still really challenging to use, which is why I'm going to be uploading a video on how to get kill streaks with the BB units in a week's time. However, I do have some tips specifically for BB-8, which will be mentioned again in that video. The first one is that he actually has 3 passive abilities, not just 1. For most heroes, they only have 1 passive ability, except Bosk, and that is of course health on kill. Every time they eliminate a trooper, they'll gain a small amount of health, and when they eliminate an enemy hero, they'll get even more. That's just common knowledge. However, BB-8 actually has 2 more that many people forget about. The second one is technical support, where BB-8 counts as 2 infantry units instead of 1 when capturing an objective. So if you have an objective point that's not yet captured and you might lose the game, be sure to choose BB-8 and get your ass on that objective. The third one is Swift Reaction, where BB-8 actually reduces the cooldown of nearby enemies in a certain radius, and by enemies I of course mean allies, because this ability would be really bad if it did help enemies. I don't know why I said that. BB-8 does help a lot, and he is a team player. However, he is the more offensive of the two. So while you want to stick with your team, feel free to go alone for a bit. And when I mean a bit, I mean for a little bit, because if you're on your own and go across the entire enemy team, you might lose a large amount of your health or might even die. So be mindful of that. BB-8's cable spin is amazing, which is something you should take advantage of. It's really overpowered and you should use it as much as you can, especially the lockdown hallways and objectives. Again, these are some tips and tricks that are just primarily for BB-8. I'm going to be going over a lot more in that video, so be sure to stay tuned for that if you do have some problems with the BB units. So that is going to be it for this hero guide, guys. I was really surprised when I found out that BB-8 was going to be a playable hero in a Battlefront game, and I still am shocked today that you can play as him. However, he is still pretty good. However, he does take some skill to use. He is pretty hard along with BB-9E, so expect that video coming up in a week with the how to get kill streaks with blasters, which again will be coming out next week following these 2 hero guides. We have one more hero guide to go, and that is of course BB-8's opponent BB-9E. If you are looking forward to that video, be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications as it will come out tomorrow. Thanks for watching, see you guys next time, bye, and may the force be with you always.
Thank you.